Happy Wednesday! It's Screen Junkies Universe, and we have a dog here today. He may or may not make a surprise visit later. Dan Merle is also here.
I am here.
Yes, present, accounted for. Dan, what you don't know about him is he loves sing-alongs. We were just engaging a sing-along right here, and no one was more enthusiastic. He was dancing. I wish you hadn't missed it. Joe Starr.
It was good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you knew all of Singing in the Rain.
I didn't know that either. And the steps.
Yeah.
More impressive.
I knocked over some stuff.
Yeah, a few things.
I'm no
that
Gene,
was not a lamppost.
Yeah.
I'm no
That was
Gene
a very
Kelly, but I'm
expensive
working
camera.
on it. Yeah.
Mr. Edgar, that's how I know what day of the week it is.
Hey, I'm very happy to be anywhere.
Oh. All right. Well, we'll do a mental health check-in later today.
You good?
In the interim, we're checking in on you and how you're feeling, Internet. And you seem mad because the new Aladdin.
Shocker.
You're a little mad today. Everybody's a little tender heading into the holidays. The new Aladdin photos hit, and people are upset, Joe Starr. They are not pleased.
It's because his legs are too muscular,
Is that
Rolf.
it?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Just the legs are too buff.
It's not how the genie's legs are supposed to
Oh.
look.
Yeah.
Well, fans weren't too pleased, but Will Smith took, and if we can take a look, they were not happy with this, but he took to Instagram and said, don't worry about it. I'm going to be in CGI blue in the movie. This is my human form. So there you have it. Guy Ritchie said that the look was very intentional, saying, quote, I've been speaking with EW. I wanted a muscular 1970s dad. He was big enough to,
Guy Ritchie
to
wanted
feel
a
like
daddy.
Aw. Tell us more, Guy Ritchie. I wanted he was big enough to feel like a force, not so muscular that he looked like he was counting his calories, but formidable enough to look like you knew when he was in the room. Okay. Joe Starr.
What a weird thing to tell his trainer. Like, this is what I want you to get Will Smith in shape for.
I wish. I'm all in now on, like, especially after like the Sonic thing where it was like, what, he can't work out, like the troll back. I wish this magazine cover had been him slathered in blue paint like David Cross in Arrested Development. And I wish there had just been blue paint marks all over everyone, like in the photo shoot, and they'd just been like, he's blue, see, we did it. Like, I think that would have been wonderful. I'm fine that he's not a giant blue cloud because this is a different film.
Ed, how do you feel about it?
I'm with Joe. I'd love to see sort of that sort of blue man group. I'd love for him to look like that, you know. But this whole muscle magic,
Yes.
that's nuts.
What do you mean muscle magic?
I don't get it. Like, he's a magician. Like, and I do get that the drawing was very buff.
Oh,
Because he
yeah,
had
yeah.
a lot of time in the lamp to,
Yeah, yeah.
do CrossFit.
What else?
You know?
Flipping
He
tires.
was doing the Bronson workout in the lamp, you know? He
Yeah.
was basically, if you guys don't know what that is, this is one of Tom Hardy's breakout roles, Bronson, who was a man who developed an entire workout routine in prison that my boyfriend now uses.
You see his
literally.
ding dong in it, Ross.
What?
You do.
Is it part of the workout?
No, that's just the fact about the movie Bronson. You get the full Bronson.
I don't know. It's a close. There's been a lot of great Dan quotes this week, but that might be.
That might be,
Yeah.
it might be the best
Yeah.
one. Is it like a good Bronson shot, or is it like a Chris Pine Outlaw King? Like, oh,
I didn't see Outlaw King, so
Oh.
I can't judge it.
So,
I just thought people might want to know that.
Outlaw King is
know,
a
I
wide
think-
shot coming out of
yeah,
a very
yeah.
freezing lake. It did not do anyone any favors.
Yeah, no, I think we're doing our due diligence with bringing the information to the people that they want to need to have.
So what we're
Dan-
saying confirmed. You see Will Smith's genie
Yeah.
in this movie.
Yeah, so on a scale
Confirmed.
of 1 to ashes, how much has your childhood been destroyed?
This is like the biggest no-win scenario in the world for Will Smith, which is that you will never replace Robin Williams.
Ever.
With all of these remakes that they've done, you know, Emma Watson can step in for Belle, and you can do Mocap Beast, and Lumiere and Cogsworth. You can get different actors, and even Timon and Pumbaa. Everybody loves the originals, but you can get Billy Eichner in there, and people will buy it.
I eat bugs.
Yeah, you know, it'll be different, but I think people will roll with it. You cannot replace Robin Williams. You can't replicate Robin Williams. You can't do what he did. And so for me, this is why of all the ones they've done, this is the one I get the least, which is like you can't even replicate. Lion King you can replicate. It looks like that's what they're going to do. They're going to recreate the Lion King. You cannot recreate Aladdin the way that it exists. And so I think conversely, whether he was in blue paint or wasn't, if he was in CGI form, blue CGI form, which apparently he will be for most of the movie, I would be like, well, that's not Robin Williams.
Well, it's,
So there's no, this is the one of all of them, just like, what are you doing with this
Yeah,
one?
I kind of have to agree in the sense that even if you think about what Robin Williams did with that role, it changed, good and bad to this, by the way. It changed how voice actors were cast in movies like this because he was sort of stunt casted as the genie. There are people that made their living as voice actors that weren't necessarily famous, and it was such a breakout, huge hit success that now we see the trend, which is that they get stars for all of those voice roles as well. But you're right. Like, you're never going to stop thinking about Robin Williams.
It has
Or
to
are
be
you?
completely
Are you?
different, and it's going to be completely different. But
Yeah.
now that's what they're taking flack for, is
Yeah.
that it's completely different. Like, well, what he can't do Robin Williams. He can't.
Yeah.
That it's not a knock on Will Smith.
That's why I'm surprised that the first teaser was the shot-for-shot reveal of the Cave of Wonders with, like, it sounded exactly the same. Like, that gave me the feeling that, like, well, this is going to be, like, just like Beauty and the Beast was, more or less a shot-for-shot remake, and what Lion King kind of looks like it's going to be a shot-for-shot remake. But just having Will Smith in the key role, again, especially if he just gets to walk around a lot like Will Smith the Dude in this movie and not be a giant blue cloud that does impressions, like, it's not going to be a shot-for-shot remake. This has to be, like, significantly different. So that's why it's surprising to me that the teaser didn't do its job establishing that like, hey, this is a new Aladdin. This is Guy Ritchie's. There's definitely going to be a group of thieves that hatch a plan. There's going to be a weird montage.
There's going to be
Ritchie.
a lot of
Yeah.
like slow motion into fast motion
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah.
I want this to be different, by the way. But
Yeah, I do too.
that's the problem. Is it's already we have one little hint of it being different, and people are just losing their minds. And it's like, well, you're not gonna get. Go watch Robin Williams. That's all I got to tell you. You're not going to get that again. You're not going to get that again.
I mean,
Yeah.
again, there is a cognitive dissonance to do it over exactly like that, but make it different. You know what I mean? There's a real dissonance to that inherent. So, but I do agree that it's just like such a singular performance. Even when people say like, "Oh, well, Heath Ledger's the best Joker," your kids are going to be talking about somebody else as the best Joker.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Maybe Joaquin Phoenix.
So
I
yeah.
didn't say definitely. now I've ruined Ed's
I'm
childhood.
interested.
You know what?
Uh-oh.
You know, the going full bozo with the Joker has never been done before. I'll give him credit for that. And that's all I'll say about that. But yeah, so you know, replacing a singular performance, you know what I mean? It's there's somebody that's still caping for Cesar Romero as the 1965 Joker or whatever. So that's all I'm saying. In this, you only have one performance,
Yeah.
and you're gonna do something different. I feel like Joe, if they had just made the trailer or the first teaser a little bit different, just right off the bat, something way different.
So, Billy Business, tell us some of the most choice responses that you've been seeing, if you have them available.
I mean, just from personally looking this morning, our own JT said, "Is this exclusively for Disney Plus?" Implying made-for-TV movie.
Oh.
I've also
Whoa.
seen, "Is this
Harsh,
a stage
JT.
play?" Also, someone in the chat, and I apologize because it scrolled so fast, but someone was like, "The most egregious part is that Aladdin's wearing a full shirt."
Well, that is true.
Well, it's
Yeah.
because he's ashamed that he doesn't have nipples, Billy. Like,
Yeah.
I would also
Yeah.
wear a full shirt if I didn't
Don't-
have
no,
if I
nipple-
didn't have them, you know?
Also, can I
no
just
nipple shaming
Can I
is
just
not allowed.
clear something up for the chat so we can get this
Yeah,
onward and over? The Hellboy trailer leaked this morning. It's unofficial. It leaked. Now the official Hellboy account has said, "Screw it, Age of Ultron style. Here it is." We're not going to talk about it today. We will talk about it on tomorrow's show. So we're not going to talk about the Hellboy trailer. There you go.
Okay, you heard it from Billy first. It was
I don't know.
his
You
fault.
guys want to do a live watch
Do
reaction?
you want to do a live one right now?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's fine.
No.
Never mind.
Well, you know, I did just watch it. Whatever.
Bad suggestions for me.
I love
do
the
think.
argument that it looks like a stage play. It's like it's a picture of three human beings.
So we've seen this.
Those look
over
like costumes.
10 actors.
You just go. Yeah.
I don't know what stage play. I don't know what stage play this would be in. By by the way. But we see this all the time. And look, I understand when people get upset because they feel attached to things. I get it. I've had that moment too, once or twice. But we've seen this again and again. Quicksilver. It's the worst thing that I've ever seen. You ruined it. You killed it. It's terrible. It looks terrible. Movie comes out. It's the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Now, he did look like Kid Vid from the Burger King Club.
He did, but then it looks great in live action.
Quicksilver, that whole thing is what
Yeah.
that I've stopped overreacting to any on-set video based solely off of that, because I was one of those people that like, Quicksilver looks stupid. This movie's going to be terrible, and then it was amazing, and that taught me a lesson to. These stupid dumb photos never look like the movie. They're always stills usually that are taken on set, or publicity stills, and maybe sometimes you'll get a frame from the movie
Heavily
like that Abu shot.
photoshopped.
Heavily photoshopped. Like, this doesn't look like a movie. Yeah. Because it's not a shot from the movie. It's a guy who was standing there while the cameras were rolling, and it looks super bright and fake because it was on a super bright fake set.
And it was probably the three of them were in different locations and then photoshopped together.
Yep.
And there was just a lot that went into this to make it look fake.
That's just how Will Smith dresses at home. They went to his house. They went to his pad.
Yeah, he was in the backyard.
And he was like,
at the pool.
Jaden, throw me some beard bells.
Yeah. In any event, I think we've solved it. I know that people are going to be mad at us, and that's okay, because I have discovered in the last couple of days that if Mary Poppins Tuppence can create controversy,
God.
literally anything can. I tried to come up the other day with a topic that we could address that wouldn't cause anger, and I suggested kittens. And Lon informed me immediately, kittens, no. This is the top 10 things that people get mad about kittens. There's nothing that can be addressed that will not inspire outrage.
Those kittens look like they're in a play.
Yeah.
So we look forward to raging you more throughout the rest of today's show. We will each endeavor to say something to piss you off. Just kidding. Happy holidays. Todd McFarlane says critics don't like Venom are too old and stupid.
Venom.
I added stupid. Did I? This is via IndieWire. This is the weirdest thing. Venom is such a massive hit. Like, I think his best bet here would have not been to criticize the critics, but instead to say who cares. Venom is a massive hit with audiences, blah, 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 blah. So he did talk a little bit about it. It's now at $852 million. It's outpacing plenty of other comic book movies. It is doing very well for Sony. And he said, it's a big roller coaster ride. Visually, everything was coming at you, McFarlane said to Yahoo Entertainment. I think at times the critics get it wrong and that they forget their age. They come in and they're 42 years old and they come in with their attitude and they're going, stop it. What if you were 16 and watching this movie? Well, then I hope you wouldn't be a film critic. You would love it. This thing delivered everything. It was supposed to. I don't know why I'm being such a jerk right now.
You're about to say it was gnarly.
It was gnarly. It was
This read is the
nasty.
best.
It was a big, cool Venom, which is what I was looking for. First of all, you didn't direct it, but that's okay. I respect what Todd McFarlane is trying to say as a creator. Joe, you better take it away right now.
For one thing, dude, if I'm currently 35 to 42 years old, I grew up on this stupid ass spiky covered comic. So this movie is what apparently I've been waiting for since I was a teenager. Like I had my Venom #1 foil embossed. It sat right in front of my cover of Sabretooth. Remember that one with the red cover with the slash marks in it?
The
You
one
see the
liter,
inside cover.
the 1 liter of Code Red Mountain Dew.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So technically, this was supposed to be our wheelhouse because this is a comic we grew up on, right? It delivered on some neat Venom things, but it was not gnarly and it was not nasty because it was very PG-13. So all the gnarly and nasty things happened off screen. And come on, Todd, you're like 45. So like, give me a break. A little bit is a little dumb.
First off, Todd
dumb.
McFarlane is like 55.
Also, current 16-year-olds don't care about Venom. They went and saw the movie, but like they don't have like a personal attachment to Venom.
Yeah.
I really don't think they do.
Well, but I think what he's trying to say, I'm not trying to defend what Todd is saying because it just does sound like a Valley girl or a Valley
it might have been
anybody.
the read.
Yeah, well, but I think the tone.
You've incepted Cher into
No,
public
the
parlance.
tone crept into it. I think you did a great job of encapsulating his voice in this. And I think what he's trying to say, I just wish celebrities would just let their publicists talk like in the 50s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just some slave to a studio and they just get some mouthpiece to say your stuff. I loved it ever so much. You know what I mean? Whatever. But because what he's trying to say is some person who needs Spider-Man to be part of the mythos, who needs that super great origin story, who needs the whole Secret Wars probably to set it up, is going to just hate on this. He's saying that also when you have a developed film palette, a lot of people decide they don't like the sort of action and the sort of the whole way that this Venom movie is set up. They decide they don't like that. And they just have a prejudice against it.
Oh, come on. No.
And he said 16-year-olds don't have that so-called discerning taste. That's what he's trying to say.
I think he said 16-year-olds are idiots, so
Yeah.
they love it. That's what I think he said.
First of all,
If you're 14, but hold on. If you react to a movie the same way at 14 as 42, you are officially a dumbass. I'm sorry. That's crazy. So to me, I'm not saying that people who like the movie are dumbasses. I'm saying that the 14-year-old Dan liked the movie. Let's address the elephant in the room. Dan liked the movie. I haven't even seen the freaking thing. But Dan liked the movie, and he's got a great film palette. All I'm saying is 14-year-old Dan
Dan's not an
would have went
elephant.
nuts for that movie. 14-year-old Dan would have went nuts for that movie and probably had no reservations.
I don't know. I feel like 14-year-old me might have liked it less.
Really?
And
Because of relationship stuff?
No, just because I didn't think girls were gross when I was 14.
With the monster?
No, I just think that Venom worked for me on a level that I appreciated on more like a performance and
Yeah.
like the quirks of it and the way that it was sort of to my eyes that it was sort of thumbing its nose at a lot of things that I think maybe at 14 years old I wouldn't have picked up on, and I would have been like, well, that action scene was short.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and like things that I maybe wasn't as attuned to when I was 14 as I am now.
When I was 14, I would have been like, where's Carry On? And, what was her name? Scream? Screech?
Oh, God. All the other symbiotes suck.
Yes.
Full stop.
First of all, I think it's fine to love Venom and have really, really, really enjoyed it. There's movies that I really, really enjoyed that lots of critics didn't, and audiences feel mixed on. I thought Bohemian Rhapsody was a ton of fun. A lot of people did not agree. So that's fine. I think it's great to love Venom or not love Venom. And Tom McFarlane's, of course, going to defend his creation. And I think that it's a huge success. You don't have nothing to defend. It did really well. It's doing phenomenal. But this is what I draw umbrage with, sirs. Todd and others who would make this assumption that I think it's an odd thing to say, what if you were 16 and didn't have the knowledge base that you do? Well, I think 16-year-olds have a perfectly great ability to assess a movie and give an opinion, but ideally a film critic has done a bit of study and does have that knowledge base, so good, because that's their job. But at the same time, I draw umbrage with the idea that anyone's going in wanting to dislike things and disliking things because they are an entertainment. I just talked about a movie that's an entertainment that you can see the structural issues with in terms of the wig and teeth of it all, in terms of Bohemian Rhapsody, but I thought it was very entertaining.
I will say, here's what I'll say.
I liked it.
I will. We can teach it all. I will say, I agree. Most critics do not go in with a preconceived notion. I would hope, but I do have to say, I have eyes and ears, and I was at the critic screening for Venom, and I saw and heard a lot of people going, let's get this stupid thing over with. Like, there were, I saw with my own eyes that there were critics sitting in that screen like, oh God, this is going to be a garbage fire. And lo and behold, a lot of them, when I read their reviews, and I'm not saying that they weren't their true opinions. I am just saying that I think this is not a good argument, first of all. I don't like his argument, the idea of just like, well, if you're 16, you'd love it. That's like saying like, oh, it's for the real fans. That I think that is trying to hand wave away some legitimate issues that people have with the film, and the film has legitimate issues. It has a lot of legitimate issues. I was just on this side of liking it. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't have to do with how old you are. As far as like, you know, structure, things like that. However, there is a tiny kernel of truth in that I will concede the point, because I've seen it on this movie and I've seen it on a lot of other movies, that there are some critics, I think, that go in already.
Nice.
Certainly, I'm not saying that maybe they would have hated it no matter what, but that the movie has to do a whole hell of a lot to overcome the mountain that some people walk in with it against it, and Venom doesn't do enough. If you come in against it, Venom's not going to do enough really to win you over. I don't think.
I think when I went to see, there's two movies that I can think of that I went to see thinking this is going to be a ridiculous mess, and then I loved it, and that was 21 Jump Street, which I should have given them the credit because I had known their animated work, but I didn't give them the credit for Miller and Lord to pull that off. I thought it was a terrible idea, and then it was a great, very funny movie. And then, judge me if you will, but Final Destination 5, which is the best of the Final Destination movies, is really good. And so I think there's times, you're right, the movie has to do more to overcome if you're coming in with a... But I think most critics, once you're starting the movie, you're just watching it. And Venom, to me, I think we had almost the exact same take. We just walked away with a slightly different view on the intent. And meaning, for me, Aquaman knows what it's doing the whole time. It's fully committed. And for me, Venom commits about 45 minutes in, and after that point, I think it's insane and awesome and funny and weird when it's the relationship between those two. But that's it. That's an interpretation. Neither one. Nobody's right or wrong in that scenario.
No.
You know?
Well, I think that's the other thing that it's this whole thing of objectivity, of the idea of, well, what is I saw yesterday, there's a whole thread going around about Spider-Man and how people were saying that, like, well, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films suck because Spider-Verse was so good. And this idea that, like, you can only like one version of a thing.
Right.
And I think it's similar to, like, now, instead of, like, discussion, so many times when a movie comes out, it's just like the internet, for some reason, has the quest to find the objective truth about a movie.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Which
okay,
there
the
are.
reviews are out. What's the real truth about this? And then they decide what the truth is, and then they
Right.
go out and they attack everybody who
Who has
does
the
not
wrong
speak the
truth.
truth about the
Yeah.
movie. And
But
it's like, that's not criticism, and it's a fundamental misunderstanding, I think, on the internet's part, a large majority of the internet, about what film criticism is or what it should be. It is not
Yeah.
about deciding once and for all if a movie is good or bad.
I also, just to stretch that objectivity to Todd McFarlane's field, which is comics. The age argument when Venom came out, I know that age argument existed too. When Image was getting big, when those Image hadn't started, but when those young guns were starting to step up and sort of really take over Marvel and stuff like that. I know the same argument was there, where it was like, if you're 42 and you're still clutching to your Silver Age and your Golden Age stuff, of course you're not going to like this. But if you're 16 right now and just getting into comics, like, Venom is dope. Wildcats is going to be dope. Gen 13 is going to be dope. But, like, at the end of the day, like, I was 16 and I loved Venom. When I was 16, a whole bunch of other stuff came out, Wet Works, stuff like that. It was all terrible. It was all bad. It was all bad, and so it didn't last. So I think and I was 16 when it came out. I was the target, and so I think that, again, if it's good, it's going to be good. But then also,
To
it's
be
also
fair,
art.
though,
Like,
to be fair though, if that Drek had shipped on time, I think they might have stayed in business
might
a
have
little
stuck
bit
around.
longer.
It might have
But
stuck
they
around.
made bad comics.
Youngblood would have stuck around.
Yeah, they made bad comics really slowly.
Yeah.
And that messed them up.
Sure.
Just to clarify, all I'm saying is they're definitely, at that time, people loved those comics because they didn't even know what they liked about comics. They thought they loved the bubble muscles and the broken spine women and the lines instead of background, because I'm on a deadline here. You know what I mean? They thought they loved that. And as they grew older and they started reading more actual books and more actual good comics and Mouse and all that stuff you're supposed to read when you push your glasses up, then they started to reject those comics even more. So you do get a more discerning palate as you age.
Yeah.
Most people
You
do.
definitely age out of Rob Liefeld.
But I do feel that Todd McFarlane is is doing some damage control for his own movie he's going to come out, because he's going to direct Spawn, and the critics are going to savage that thing. I'm calling it right now. And he's going to come back and say something similar to this.
True.
I mean, it'll be. I think it'll be. I'm worried it'll be more of a Frank Miller Spirit situation.
I hope not.
I hope not, too,
I'm
but-
thinking that would be the case.
I hope not, because and I've brought this up before, so sorry for the repeat, but if you haven't seen the Spawn HBO series, it's so good.
It is really good.
It's really good, so you should check that out. Spawn can be done really well, obviously.
But
I just don't think he has. Oh no, go
Oh,
ahead.
no, I'm just going to say, to that objective truth point that Dan was talking about, too, though, film criticism to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you guys are real critics, but to me, it is discerning whether you agree with Pauline Kael.
No,
or whatever.
I don't think that's.
I
don't
yeah.
think that's what it is.
I'm just
at
saying
all.
there's no objective truth. So all I'm saying is you got a bunch of different places to get your news or your criticism. If you know Owen Gleiberman pull a name out of thin air, hates X type of movie, and you agree that type of movie sucks, then you go, oh, if I read Owen Gleiberman's review and he doesn't like that, I'll probably not like it, which is a Consumer Reports aspect of criticism that I don't like.
There's a difference, and Dan and I have talked about this, there's a difference between a straight review, which maybe, yeah, that's the purpose, right? Which is like, do I generally agree with Dan or not? I know you guys all do, so that's good. If Dan doesn't like this thing, I probably won't. If Dan does like this thing, I probably will. That's cool. That's a utility service. But criticism, and you brought up Pauline Kael, criticism is about being a part of an ongoing conversation.
Like film comment.
It's about contributing your piece to that ongoing conversation that is so multifaceted that other critics will weigh in on, that audiences will weigh in on, that it's you're sparking the evaluation and assessment of movies in general, of this movie in particular, of what movies are meant to do, of how they accomplish that. What is the purpose of a film?
How does it stand in the pantheon?
How does it stand in culture? What does it say about culture? What does it reflect back and forth with culture? All of that can be found in film criticism. It's like if you looked at Wonderland versus Boogie Nights, those two movies, you could look at those two movies and then teach an entire class about what a movie is supposed to do, because they take the same subject matter and they deliver it in a very different way, and one is incredibly popular and one is very dark. But what's better or worse for the viewer, right? Is it to cookie coat a really brutal series of murders and a really effed up life? Or is it to show you that with absolutely no filter so that you can see that reality? Like, that's what film criticism is for. There's no answer to that, but it's about contributing to the conversation.
Yeah, and Roth and I talked about Aquaman for 15 minutes. Our review was 15 minutes long and I cannot tell you how many comments I've seen that people just saying, like, stop being so wishy-washy and just tell me if it's good or not. Like, why are you afraid to say what you really think about it and just say that it sucks? Or why are you being so negative about it and just say that it's amazing and you didn't want to like it? And it's like, because to some people that's what criticism is. Criticism is me and Roth sitting here and I'm like, Aquaman good, and Roth like, Aquaman bad, and that's it. That's criticism. That's not criticism. And there's I'm just saying that's what people want, and that's what they think criticism is. And so when we talk about Aquaman for 15 minutes and we're not sitting here talking about how amazing it is or how much it sucks, a lot of people take that as we're being wishy-washy, we're afraid to say what we think, we're just dancing around it, we're waiting for consensus, because we're not yelling about how amazing it is or yelling about how much it sucks, and we're discussing the things like structure and tone and the things that worked and the things that didn't work, but not prescribing. At the end of the day, Roth and I did not prescribe at the end of our Aquaman review an objective truth to Aquaman. We did not say Aquaman is a disappointment and you're not gonna like it, or we didn't say Aquaman is amazing and it's the best DC movie ever made. And because we didn't do that, people think that we in turn are afraid to say what we think, or are just kind of being coy or are wasting their time. And it's like, there are plenty of critics out there that will just give you a 3-minute bite and say, like, Jason Momoa was good and the special effects were great and the plot was good. Aquaman, yay. Like, and that's fine. That is a perfectly valid form of film criticism. It's just not the kind of film criticism that we do generally. But that's what you have to, people don't get a lot of times. It's like, there's not one way to talk about movies. There's not one way to rate them or not rate them or think about them. There's a broad spectrum of film criticism, and you just have to find the one you like and be okay if somebody else does it in a way that you don't.
Yeah. Well, and also find people you don't agree with. Like I've brought her up a ton before.
Well, that's not what the internet is
for.
for.
I brought her up a ton before, but there's some critics out there that I never agree with. But I love reading them because they always make me see something in a new way. They make me see something I didn't see, and because I don't agree with them, they're definitely going to offer me a new perspective.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Mara and I watched Salt last night with Angelina Jolie, that action movie.
Yeah.
And afterwards,
Why have we never gotten Salt 2, Assault with a Deadly Weapon?
I've got some thoughts, but I was looking afterwards. I was looking at the reviews and stuff, and I saw that Roger Ebert, my favorite critic of all time, had reviewed it before he passed, and it was a 4-star review.
Really?
And I was like, what? But I loved reading it because it was like reading how this guy who was like such an important influence on me and learning about film and film criticism could disagree with me in a movie so fundamental, like 4 stars, could disagree with me so fundamentally on a movie, and I thought that was fascinating. I agreed with almost nothing of what he said.
I hope you left that comment.
Yeah, and then I left an angry comment underneath.
Well, dude, never, ever forget that Siskel and Ebert gave Speed 2 a thumbs up. Both of them. They said Speed 2 was great, and they should go see it in the movie theater. They did. I remember it. It was mine.
They loved it.
Yeah, it was my Hindenburg. I knew where I was because that was the moment where I said, "Oh, they're people. They're not robot computing machines of value systems like The Good Place or something. You know what I mean? They're not calculating all these empirical values with their super minds.
Yeah.
They maybe got soused at the press junket and went to go see it early or something, and that's the result or something. There's a lot of things that happen, and I just think that people need to embrace the humanity of that and stop seeing it as Consumer Reports. I've said that 3 or 4 times. It's not Consumer Reports. There is a best screwdriver for guys with big hands. There is a best way to change the tire in the rain with the thingy. There is no best movie. Stupid.
Yeah, I think that I don't think you could say it better than that. Honestly, yeah, the objective truth thing is what I wish could, if we could crack how to not have a winner at the end of movie fights, because I think obviously that's the show, that's the structure of the show, that's the format, it's a gamified thing, but the point of it, I think in the end, is just we had an interesting movie discussion, and I think people get lost in like the moment that Dan said Speed 2, he was wrong.
Well, we established the show as like, look at this dumb thing.
Right.
Look at how stupid it is that we're doing this. Like, that was the whole tag, was like, real nerds get into real fights about fake movies. And everyone, competitors included, started taking it too seriously, and it got out of hand. And I think we're trying to rein it back a little bit, but to loop us back to Will Smith, the genie's out of the bottle.
Classic.
Oh, man. Well, Aquaman is opening in theaters. Are you guys good? Do we feel complete?
I think Dan needs to push the mic over the table and onto the floor.
Just walk off.
Yeah,
but we need you to stay to watch a thing, though. And it's a very fun thing. So our own Roxy Stryer went to New York City to talk to Jason Momoa and the cast of Aquaman, which comes out in theaters this week. Billy Business has feelings on the movie. Billy, would you like to express them in a vocal?
Real good.
Yeah, very well. He loves
Billy
it.
say Aquaman good.
Aquaman, good. Acting, good. Story, good. Effects, good. You don't like it? Your opinion? Bad.
I am just a simple
Film
caveman critic.
Film criticism, ladies and gentlemen. Roxy went to go talk to them and asked all of the fan questions, some of yours included, so we should check that out. And on Thursday, speaking of Aquaman, aquatic fights on Movie Fights with Mr. Joe Starr.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, they're going to be in a tank, guys. Someone's getting in some water. I promise.
No, that's not happening.
No, it is. I'm going to bring in a bath. All right, watch Roxy and Aquaman.
Permission to come aboard.
What's up, guys? Roxy Stryer here with Screen Junkies, going to talk to the cast of Aquaman. A man. Let's go.
So we have some of the biggest Aquaman fans in the entire world, and they have some questions for you that I would like
Fantastic.
to ask. You ready for this?
Please.
Great.
Yes. Let's hit it.
The fans are the best part of this.
They're the best.
So.
They are. What do you think about the direction of the DCEU? Are we seeing an era of brightness in the DCEU as with Aquaman?
Well, I guess this one obviously is going to be extremely bright because we're under the ocean, and so I'm not sure what the next movie will be coming out. But oh no, Shazam! It's
Yeah,
got a lot of-
Shazam.
It's got a lot of color. I mean, it's young kids, so I mean, I feel like that's going to have right now. You could say that's a true.
It's like a breath of fresh air or water or whatever. Especially in the dynamic between the two and how a woman is portrayed. I get to be a badass, empowered, driven superhero, and letting him be a refreshed, totally new take on Aquaman who's cool and modern and tough and also flawed and human. That foreshadows a good thing, I hope.
I think you're seeing a DCU that is giving their directors the real visionary freedom. I think that's what you're seeing. So whether it's Zach or Patty Jenkins or obviously James and everybody else that's now joining and in between, letting them have the freedom to do what they want.
I pull a lot of my inspiration from the comic books, and that's why it looks the way it does. You know, Atlantis should be vibrant and magical and wondrous, and the underwater world is something that I really wanted to sort of embrace the sort of the magic of the ocean, and it has a look that is unique, I think, to the Aquaman world.
What was your original approach with the character?
My original approach with the character was really influenced by Zack Snyder, who, when he called me and wanted to make a Aquaman who was gonna be a hard ass, would be a loner, someone who isn't afraid to punch Batman in the face. It's just someone who's gonna stir the pot, who's gonna question everything that the team does. Kind of jaded. The one thing that really resonated with me is he's a man with power, and he has lost people and he's saved people. So there has been people who have drowned and he couldn't get there in time, and the empathy and his human side, can't let him forgive that, so he punishes himself because he's not good enough or wasn't trained well enough, or he's half of something. So that other half, that human side, is a plus because it's humanity, it's his empathy, right? But the other side is Atlantean, which gives him the strength underwater and to do all those things. But I like someone who is flawed and is trying to work through it, and really it's through family and friends, and where he has to trust and love to truly become a king. Oh man, it's good.
Do you see Mara becoming more integrated / involved in and with the Justice League?
I think it's about time. I think after this movie, probably.
What would happen if Mara and Wonder Woman met?
I think that is an awesome question. I think we need to have more female superheroes. I would really love to pair up with her. That would be awesome. I think they would make one kick-ass pair.
Can you picture what they would do?
I mean, what couldn't they do? Like land and sea, hello.
Great point.
Done.
Great point. Which power would you use in your daily life? Hydrokinesis or talking to fish?
I talk to fish.
Definitely hydrokinesis.
Talking to fish, bro, 100%.
They also want to know which fish.
Hydrokinesis.
Great answer.
Never really wanted to speak to a fish, to be honest. I'm not quite sure.
Maybe Nemo?
I mean, Nemo, he looks so cute. Why not Nemo?
It's probably my fish in my fish tank, and I just want to know if they're okay, if they need anything, if they're good.
What do you think? What is their response?
You know what I actually want to know? This is so nerdy of me. I'd want to know if they really do need the light on, because it's this constant struggle if they actually need a light or if I can just use light from outside.
Are there any characters from the comics you'd love to see in a potential sequel? And if so, who?
It's hard because I want to talk about some of the characters that I've put as little cameos in this film that I would love to kind of branch out more. That
Yeah,
would be
great. I would love
Yeah.
to hear about some of those.
Dr. Shin, played by Randall Park, is someone that, we kind of sort of just set him up a little bit. I'd love to kind of hear what his stories is about.
I love that, me too. I would love to see that. This is from Rhonda, who wants to know. She says, Orm looks a little like an old school Aquaman.
Yes.
Did you talk about what feeling you were trying to evoke with his look?
You're right, Rhonda. Yes, that was, twofold. I wanted to be the opposite of Jason, big, hairy, dark, brooding guy. I wanted to be the very svelte, blonde, shaven guy. So, and then a style of hair, certainly in the scenes when I'm out of water, without spoilers, I wanted a little throwback to Aquaman, because I thought it would be cool, a little nod to what the classic Aquaman in the comic. And I just wanted a different look for me too. I'm tired of looking the same.
I'm a big fan of the Batman Brave and the Bold version of Aquaman, but get it is rooted in jokes poking fun at the character. How do you challenge that kind of perception in this film?
I'm well aware of, look, the humor people have had at his expense, and I think people are gonna see that this movie isn't like that at all. By casting Jason Momoa, any of the jokes that people used to make fun of him kind of goes out the window. People are actually gonna laugh with Jason. They're not gonna laugh at Jason. That's the big difference.
It's rather annoying when people go, "Do you still talk to fish?" And I'm like, "Oh God, are we still stuck on that?" I'm excited for people to watch the movie because James has an answer to all that. I think we want to embrace the things that are funny about it, which, do you talk to fish? And then we're riding in a whale's mouth, or he's riding on a seahorse, and now he's riding a kraken. So I think James tried to embrace the jokes and the puns, and then answer it back with, yeah, I'm riding a great white right now. I like them apples.
Great Good Will Hunting reference. I love that.
That was awesome.